The birth of a new day brings a familiar demon. More COVID infections and more death. And it's others who must stare into the abyss to spare our eyes.
I'm sorry.
Like Hannah, a senior mortician at the Royal London Hospital, part of a small team of just 5 that's handled hundreds of bodies in this pandemic.
How do you ever prepare for people just dying and dying and dying? You know, although it's our job and we deal with dead people every day, this level, I think, is taking its toll.
Does it feel like a conveyor belt?
It does in a way, yeah. And I hate to say that because I hate to think of it like that, but yeah, it is almost, yeah.
That's what the pandemic's done. I mean,
yeah,
it's no one's fault.
No. Sorry. I've done this for years, you know. I'm just, when someone says to you, how does it make you feel when you're saying how it makes you feel, well, yeah, this is how it makes me feel.
The inner turbulence revealed. And yet outer strength is what we crave, a brave face in those fighting the virus on our behalf. As every day the hospitals fill up, including the Royal London.
How many floors are taken up by COVID patients here?
We've got patients on the 3rd floor, 4th floor.
This ward goes all the way around to the other side. It's 29 patients.
6th floor, 7th floor, 8th floor.
So another COVID patient in here.
9th floor.
Another one in here.
10th, 11th.
Again, round to the other side. That's another 29 patients.
12th, 13th.
This is our 3rd ward with 31 patients.
And then obviously up here.
But each 4 of these 4-bedded bays contain COVID patients.
The 14th and the 15th floors, so that's 12 floors in total.
Basement, by the way, sorry.
12 out of 15 floors, more than 400 patients, and there aren't enough staff. It's madness. And curiously, despite all the drugs and fancy equipment, the simple technique of periodically turning over a COVID patient or proning can help force oxygen into scarred lungs. But the manpower needed is immense, turning and turning and turning again, day after day. And in the middle of the storm, consultant Mari Healy.
Yeah, it's fairly urgent.
A commanding presence.
Yes, still coming. Go, go, go. All right, that's your first day.
And a friend to all.
What did I done without you today?
For those less scrupulous about social distancing and wearing masks, she gives the benefit of the doubt, despite the effect on the NHS.
I think the public want to do the right thing, but I don't feel they understand fully the scale of the problem. So I don't feel taken for granted. We don't.
So you think the public don't get the pressure that is on everyone working in this hospital and up and down the country?
I definitely don't think they do, because I think if they did, they really wouldn't hesitate to do the right thing.
Back on the ward, the oxygen levels plummet of a COVID patient in their mid-20s. Proning must be quick, but more specialist care may be necessary to oxygenate the blood through an artificial lung. Consultant PJ Zolfagari, who predicted a second coronavirus wave, calls Papworth Hospital in Cambridge to see if they'll take the patient.
Ventilation has become very difficult again just now.
As Kathy McGloin leads the team, trying to keep her alive. But there's bad news.
So you're full, is that right?
Now the pressure's really on, but quiet professionalism kicks in.
Not too good. The breathing's not great. The breathing. Okay, yeah, good.
Relief. Enough oxygen is now finally reaching the patient's lungs. And yet Kathy isn't an intensive care doctor. She's a consultant anaesthetist, offering a helping hand like the trauma surgeons, paediatricians, immunologists, all mucking in during this appalling COVID crisis.
I feel a lot better now.
How worried were you?
I'm sweating, and it's not just the PPE. So, I mean, she's young, she's someone's relative. This is something precious that we're holding and we're trying to do. Yeah, it's quite frightening.
Frightening. One word that defines COVID's second wave for the NHS. Heartbreaking is another. As Mari Healy checks on a 28-year-old man with no underlying conditions, but who's been on a ventilator for more than 3 weeks.
Obviously very distressing, and this is a very serious complication at this stage. He's also got other family members in critical care as we speak.
Time to call his wife.
Now, I know he is quite sick. He could die from this, by the way. I'm sorry to have to say that. I know, love. I know. I know. Don't worry. We're doing everything we can for him. Very difficult because it's very difficult because this poor family have been through a huge amount, and they're actually so nice that makes it more difficult.
The inner turbulence revealed. The rain mirrors Shamima's recent tears for her family.
So that's him there.
She took Mari's call as her husband fights for his life. His condition remains serious on life support. Clive Myrie, BBC News.
And that's the reality of the pandemic for staff and patients at the Royal London. That was Clive Myrie reporting, with camera journalist David McElveen and producer Sam Peranti. Let's have a look then at the latest government figures out today. There were 33,355 new coronavirus infections recorded in the latest 24-hour period. And that means that the average number of new cases reported per day in the past week is 43,257. It is continuing to fall at this point. Hospitals have had an average of 37,946 COVID patients in the week to last Sunday. As we mentioned, 1,610 deaths have been reported. That's people who died within 28 days of a positive COVID test. On average in the past week, 1,181 deaths were announced every day. The total number of deaths so far across the UK is 91,470. Let's also go through the latest figures here on the UK's programme of vaccination to see where we are. 204,076 people have had their first dose of one of the 3 approved vaccines in the latest 24-hour period, and that takes the overall number of people who've had their first vaccination in the UK to more than 4.2 million.